you. That's what I said now. Doctors are sitting here just to cure you. Go ahead now. One has leeches in his pocket, so you can be bled now. And this one said he wants to examine the sockets that are in your head now. This one, he's got a piss-filled bucket, so you can take a bath now. And that one says run away and duck it. Drink it instead now. You drink that pee, your body will disown you. How about that now? Just so still, these flagellations can atone you. I'll bury him, you'll bury me. I'm the one to hear you kill your bed. You see, I ain't got no future whole family tree, but I'll know what a plague doctor ought to be. I know what a plague doctor ought to be. Said if you wanna call me baby, just go ahead now. And if you wanna tell me maybe, just go ahead now. And if you wanna try these flowers, just go ahead now. But if you don't wanna come for hours, just go ahead now. Doctors here before you. Not this again. Wow. 1, 2 doctors who can cure you. That's what I said now. One has a live chicken in his pocket. Shave it clean and your infection, it will stop it. Just hold still now. Bury him. You'll bury me. I'm the one to hear you, baby. Can't you see? You won't have no future family tree, but I know what a plague doctor ought to be. I know what a plague doctor ought to be. Wanna call me baby, just go ahead now. And if you would like to tell me baby, just go ahead now. And if you wanna buy me some more flowers, just go ahead now. But if you wanna live for a few more hours, just go ahead now. If you wanna call me baby, and if you'd like to tell me baby, just go ahead now. And if you wanna smell some flowers, just go ahead now. If you'd like to talk for hours, just go ahead now. Come on, come on, come on, and go ahead now. Just go ahead. Come on, come on, come on, and go ahead now. Oh, baby. Just go ahead now. Oh, your majesty. Come on, come on, come on, and go ahead now. Hey, wait a minute, hey. No,
We hope that you all enjoyed watching our video. We wanted to give you guys more information about the bubonic plague and essentially explain what our video means. We based our video on the 1300s when the bubonic plague was most prominent. We tried to show symptoms which included necrosis of the nose, which we showed with makeup, black makeup on the tip of the nose and on the tips of the fingertips. We also wanted to show what buboes looked like, which is a lymph node that swells to the point where it ruptures. And that was demonstrated on my neck with the large red sore. We wanted to show what some of these symptoms look like, but we also know that there are symptoms that aren't as severe, for example, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pain, and several other symptoms. We wanted to show what the most severe symptoms were and what those symptoms looked like in the 1300s. In the 1300s, the bubonic plague killed anywhere from 75 to 200 million people, and it is known as one of the most deadly times or deadly illnesses in the human history. So we really wanted to demonstrate what the doctors did back in the 1300s to try to cure the bubonic plague, which included the large masks that they wore and using the sticks to look at the patients. They thought that if they wore these masks and used these sticks that they wouldn't get it. But this wasn't the case because the bubonic plague is spread by a bacteria known as Yersinia pestis, which attaches to fleas and rodents. And if you're bitten by these rodents or exposed to these rodents, that's how the bubonic plague flares. These treatments that these doctors were doing in the 1300s included bathing and drinking urine and shaving live chickens and putting them on the victims' faces or affected areas. They also tried bloodletting and leeches and lots of crazy methods. And after some of the victims passed away, they even burned their bodies or burned their homes because this bubonic plague was so severe. It was also known as the Black Death, which is what a lot of people hear of in history classes in middle school. These symptoms and these methods of trying to cure it were irrational, and we believe, after doing further research, that a lot of these methods could have possibly killed more people than the bubonic plague. Not necessarily killed more people, but didn't help per se. The years when the bubonic plague was most prominent was 1347 to 1351, but this was before germ theory. So what the cure is now for the bubonic plague, which is antibiotics, was not known in the 1300s, and that's why a lot of these methods were used. Another theory with the bubonic plague is that these victims thought that God was punishing them by giving them the bubonic plague and these symptoms, and so they essentially would beat themselves or flagellate themselves, like we demonstrated in the video when one of the doctors was beating themselves on the back. They thought that if they did this, then it would go away, because I suppose they thought maybe their sins would go away. But we all know that's not how it works. And a lot of the people that died in this era were mistreated heavily. And it's very sad to think about now. But we tried to demonstrate the best we could what it was like when you had the bubonic plague in the 1300s, when it was most prominent. And we hope that this video helps you guys to understand how severe the bubonic plague was and how wonderful it is now that we have antibiotics and that we have a cure.